If you're over 60 and every single morning you wake up feeling more drained than when you went to bed, tired, sluggish, and you've noticed that blood flow to your intimate region just isn't what it used to be, I need you to stop blaming your age right now, because the truth is going to surprise you more than you can imagine. Most men your age are unknowingly starving their circulation of the one thing it desperately needs every single night. And fixing that is as simple as taking one small spoonful of the right food before you go to sleep. I'm Dr. Olivia Grant, a physician specializing in men's health. I've spent over 30 years helping older men recover their vitality, rebuild their energy, and reconnect with that powerful sense of themselves they thought was gone forever. I've worked with thousands of men, from guys in their early 60s all the way to men in their mid-80s, and I want you to know something before we go any further. What I'm about to share with you is one of the best-kept secrets in men's health, and I genuinely believe it can change how you wake up tomorrow morning. Now, everyone always talks about breakfast, morning workouts, and supplements, but the real magic, it happens while you're asleep. While you're lying there, your body is working overtime, rebuilding blood vessels, restoring testosterone levels, and sending blood exactly where it needs to go. The catch is, it can only do that job if it has the right fuel. Tonight, I'm going to share with you 7 simple, everyday foods you can eat before bed that have the power to improve your circulation, rebuild your muscle, and restore the vitality you thought was behind you, even if you're 75 or 80 years old. And I promise I'm saving the one food that most of my patients call a natural Viagra for a little later, because just one spoonful of it before bed can completely change how you feel when you wake up. But before we get into these foods, make sure you hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you never miss another one of these videos. I put out content specifically for men over 60 who want to take back their strength, their confidence, and their health. Don't let the algorithm bury this stuff from you. Okay, so first things first, you need to understand why circulation to that region declines so fast after 60, and why nighttime is actually the best window to repair it. Here's something your regular doctor probably never told you. And honestly, it took me years of clinical work to really appreciate this myself. The blood flow to your intimate area is not just tied to sexual arousal. It is deeply connected to your overall health, your sense of identity as a man, and your quality of life. Full stop. Early in my career, I had a patient. I'll call him Robert. He was 71 years old, a retired construction foreman from outside of Pittsburgh. Big guy, hands like a catcher's mitt, the kind of man who never complained about anything his whole life. He sat down in my office and his eyes were red. He told me it had been over a year since he felt like himself. And he wasn't just talking about sexual function. He was talking about something deeper, a disconnect from who he was from the man he'd always known himself to be. That moment changed the way I approach men's health forever. Here's the science behind what's happening. As we age, our bodies produce less and less nitric oxide. Now, nitric oxide is a critical molecule. It relaxes and widens your blood vessels, allowing blood to flow freely throughout your body, especially to the areas that need it most. And during deep sleep, your body releases growth hormones, repairs tissue, and rebalances your entire nervous system. But without the right building blocks, without the right fuel going in before bed, your body simply cannot do its repair work overnight. You're basically asking a construction crew to rebuild a house with no materials. It's not going to happen. So let's talk about the 7 foods that give your body exactly what it needs. The first one is Tart cherry juice. I know, it sounds almost too simple, right? But hear me out, because this dark ruby red drink can quietly become one of the most powerful tools in your nightly routine. I had a patient, let's call him James, 69 years old, a retired FedEx driver from Columbus, Ohio. Great guy. He came to me saying he was mentally sharp, still felt like himself upstairs, but physically his body just wasn't cooperating, especially in the bedroom. He was frustrated and embarrassed, and honestly, I could tell it was starting to affect his marriage. What makes Tart cherry juice so unique is that it's one of the richest natural sources of melatonin you can find. And I'm not just talking about helping you fall asleep faster. Melatonin at the right levels actually supports deep restorative sleep, which is when all that circulatory repair work happens. On top of that, Tart cherries are loaded with anthocyanins, natural compounds that fight inflammation and actively promote nitric oxide production in your blood vessels. James started drinking about a quarter cup of tart cherry juice roughly 30 minutes before bed. Within a few days, he was falling asleep faster. Within a couple of weeks, he was waking up less during the night. And about 3 weeks in, he called my office, and I could hear it in his voice. He said his morning erections were coming back, firmer than they'd been in years. He wasn't even expecting that. That was just his body doing what it was designed to do once it had the right fuel. Now, I know some of you are already thinking, where do I even find tart cherry juice? Great question, and I'm going to answer that right now because this is something I hear all the time. You can find tart cherry juice at Whole Foods Sprouts or online on Amazon. Look for 100% tart cherry juice, not a blend, not a cocktail. Pure Montmorency tart cherry juice. Brands like Dynamic Health or Lakewood Organic are solid. A small bottle usually runs you about $8 to $12 and lasts a couple of weeks at the dose you need. If you can't find it locally, ordering online is easy and usually cheaper per ounce. The second food is pumpkin seeds. Those small flat green seeds that most people walk right past in the bulk aisle. For men over 60, these little things can have an enormous impact on circulation, sleep quality, and recovery. I had another patient, call him Dennis, 66 years old, a retired high school football coach from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Dennis was waking up 3 or 4 times a night to use the bathroom. He was exhausted every morning, and that exhaustion was killing his energy, his mood, and his intimacy with his wife. Pumpkin seeds are absolutely packed with magnesium, and magnesium is crucial because it relaxes the smooth muscle lining your blood vessels, which directly promotes better blood flow. But they also contain zinc, and zinc is essential for testosterone production and prostate health. The phytosterols in pumpkin seeds can actually help reduce prostate enlargement, which means fewer nighttime bathroom trips, and indirectly, much better circulation to your intimate region. Dennis started taking 1 to 2 tablespoons of pumpkin seeds before bed, just eating them plain or mixed into a little yogurt. Within a few weeks, his nighttime bathroom trips dropped by more than half. He was sleeping deeper, waking up more rested, and, his words, not mine, he felt more present and engaged with his wife than he had in years. The third food is almond butter, and I want you to really sit with this one because just 1 spoonful before bed can honestly be more powerful than any pill. I had a patient, let's call him Gary, 74 years old, a widower from Phoenix who had recently started dating again after several years on his own. He came to me because everything felt fine emotionally. He was happy, connected, but physically his response just wasn't there. He was embarrassed, and I could tell he'd almost talked himself into accepting it as permanent. Almond butter is rich in magnesium, which, like pumpkin seeds, relaxes your blood vessels. It contains healthy fats that support hormonal production, which you absolutely need as testosterone levels drop with age. But the real superstar here is arginine. Arginine is an amino acid that your body directly converts into nitric oxide, the very molecule responsible for helping you achieve and maintain blood flow exactly where you need it most. This is why I sometimes joke with my patients that a spoonful of almond butter is about the closest thing to a natural Viagra that you can buy at your local grocery store. Gary started having 1 tablespoon of almond butter on a slice of whole grain toast before bed. 2 weeks later, he came back to my office grinning from ear to ear. He said he felt 20 years younger. I've seen this reaction so many times now that it still gets me every time. Now, almond butter is available pretty much everywhere. Trader Joe's, Walmart, Kroger, Target. Just make sure you're getting one with no added sugar and no hydrogenated oils. Justin's and Kirkland from Costco are both great options. A jar usually costs $6 to $10 and lasts you a couple of weeks easy. I want to stop here for a second and ask you something, because I create this content specifically for you, and I want to make it as useful as possible. What is your biggest challenge right now? Type 1 in the comments if it's the lack of energy and vitality in the morning. Type 2 if it's difficulty maintaining intimate function. Your responses genuinely help me understand what topics matter most to this community, and I read every single comment. The fourth food is soft-boiled eggs, and specifically eggs cooked with a runny or jammy yolk. This is a natural nitric oxide activator that most people completely overlook. I had a patient, let's call him Thomas, 72 years old, a retired chemistry teacher from Portland, Oregon. Skeptical guy, analytical, the kind of man who wanted to know the mechanism before he'd try anything. He was almost offended when I told him eggs at night could change how he felt as a man. Here's the science that convinced him. The power of eggs isn't just in the protein, although that matters. It's in the leucine, an amino acid that stimulates muscle growth and helps balance hormones, including promoting the release of nitric oxide. Eggs are also a significant source of vitamin D, which directly supports testosterone production. And they contain vitamin B12, which improves nerve signaling. And that signaling is absolutely essential for sensitivity and arousal. Tomas added 2 soft-boiled eggs to his nightly routine. Within 10 days, his morning erections were noticeably stronger. He was also waking up less to go to the bathroom during the night. He came back and said, "Okay, I get it now." That's all I needed to hear. The 5th food is Greek yogurt, and what makes it special is something I call its double protein action for overnight repair. I had a patient named Carl, 70 years old, a former semi-pro baseball player from St. Louis, who still had the energy and competitive drive of a much younger man, but admitted he felt like a shadow of himself when it came to intimacy and physical confidence. Greek yogurt contains 2 types of protein. Whey protein, which is digested quickly to kick off muscle repair almost immediately, and casein protein, which digests slowly over several hours, feeding your muscles and blood vessels throughout the entire night. That dual action means your vascular system and muscle tissue get sustained nutrition during the deepest phases of sleep, exactly when your body is doing its most important repair work. Every night, Carl would put together a bowl of Greek yogurt with chia seeds, a dash of cinnamon, and half a banana. Within 3 weeks, he was waking up more rested, with noticeably more energy in the morning. And he told me quietly that he and his wife had reconnected in a way he hadn't felt in years. That's exactly what this is all about. Quick note on where to find these. Greek yogurt is everywhere, any grocery store. Go for full fat, plain Greek yogurt. Fage, Chobani, or Stonyfield are all solid. Chia seeds you can find at Costco in bulk for pretty cheap. And cinnamon you already have in your pantry. Now the 6th food, my personal recovery shake, is something I've recommended to hundreds of patients over the years, and it's consistently one of the things that gets the most dramatic results. The base is whey protein for rapid muscle repair, collagen peptides to support connective tissue and vascular health, and leucine, that same amino acid from the eggs, which specifically activates muscle-building pathways, even in older men whose bodies have become less responsive to protein alone. I had a patient, let's call him Walter, 75 years old, a retired firefighter from Denver who had lost a significant amount of muscle mass after knee surgery. He came to me looking worn out, moving carefully, not like the guy who'd carried people out of burning buildings for 30 years. We put together a nightly shake for him. 1 scoop of whey protein, 1 scoop of collagen peptides, and 3 grams of leucine, mixed with unsweetened almond milk and a little cinnamon. He blended it up every night before bed. Within a few weeks, his posture improved, his endurance came back, and with that physical recovery came his confidence, and everything that comes with it. His wife actually called my office to thank me. I'm not making that up. For sourcing, whey protein is at any GNC, Vitamin Shopee, or Amazon. Collagen peptides. Vital Proteins is the most popular brand and widely available at Target and Costco. Leucine powder you can find on Amazon for about $15 for a large bag that'll last you months. Total cost for the shake runs maybe $2 to $3 a night. That's less than a cup of coffee. Here's the thing that separates men who actually see results from men who don't. And I've watched this play out for over 3 decades in my practice. It's not genetics. It's not how old you are. It's not even about what supplements you're taking during the day. It's about what you do in that critical window right before you go to sleep. I had a patient named David, 68 years old, a retired accountant from Chicago. Guy was doing everything right on paper, exercising regularly, eating clean during the day, taking his vitamins. But he was still feeling stuck, still frustrated, still not seeing the results he wanted. When I dug into his evening routine, the problem was immediately obvious. He was going to bed either completely empty, nothing since dinner at 6 p.m., or he was grabbing something random, usually crackers or a bowl of cereal, which spiked his blood sugar and threw his hormones into chaos all night long. His body was being asked to do overnight repair work with zero raw materials. So we implemented the nighttime nutrition strategy I'm describing to you right now. Within 2 weeks, David was sleeping more deeply than he had in years. Within a month, he called me and said, and I'll never forget this, Briar, Dr. Grant, I feel like I finally got myself back. That's the power of feeding your body what it actually needs while it sleeps. Now, I want to talk to you about something that I get asked in my comments all the time, and it's something really important. How long before you'll notice a difference? Because I know that's what you're really wondering right now. Let me tell you about Michael, 71 years old, a retired mail carrier from Nashville, Tennessee. Walked about 10 miles a day for 35 years, still active, but had been quietly struggling with everything we've been talking about: energy, circulation, intimate function. He committed fully to this nighttime nutrition strategy. Here's what his timeline looked like. After just 7 nights, he reported sleeping more deeply and waking up less during the night. He hadn't done that consistently in years. By day 14, his morning energy had improved noticeably, and his morning erections had returned. I want to say that again. Within 2 weeks, something he thought he'd lost permanently had come back. By day 30, his endurance in the bedroom had increased. He wasn't running to the bathroom at night anymore. He felt physically stronger in his muscles, in his posture, and in his emotional presence with his partner. And that brings me to the part of this conversation that I feel most strongly about. I've been doing this for over 30 years. I've sat across from thousands of men in my office. And the one thing that breaks my heart more than anything else is watching a man who has given up on himself because someone, a doctor, a family member, or just the culture at large, told him that decline is just part of aging, that this is just how it goes after 60, after 70, after 80. I want to look you in the eye right now, through this screen, and tell you something I mean with every bit of my clinical experience behind it. You are not broken. I don't care what your last lab results said. I don't care how long this has been going on. You are not broken. I've watched 78-year-old men recover vitality that their doctors told them was gone for good. I've watched marriages heal, real, deep healing, because a man decided to stop accepting decline and start giving his body what it actually needed. I've watched men in their early 80s rediscover a physical confidence and an emotional presence that transformed not just their own lives, but the lives of the people they love. Your body did not stop working. It has been waiting patiently for you to understand how powerfully it responds to the right kind of care. And here's what I want you to take away from everything we've talked about today, because I know it can feel like a lot. You do not need to do all 7 of these things tonight. You don't need to overhaul your entire routine by tomorrow. Just pick one. Start with Tart cherry juice, or a tablespoon of almond butter, or 2 soft-boiled eggs. Pick the one that feels easiest and most accessible to you tonight. That one small action is a promise to your body, a quiet commitment that says you're still in this, that you still want to feel, connect, and live fully. Because here's the truth that I've seen proven out again and again over 30 years of practice. The men who make the smallest consistent changes, not the dramatic overhauls, not the expensive programs, are the men who see the most lasting transformation. 1 spoonful before bed. That's where it starts. That's where it has started for hundreds of men I've had the privilege of working with. If this video helped you, even a little, I want to ask you to do something for me. Hit that like button. It sounds like such a small thing, but it genuinely helps YouTube understand that this content matters and gets it in front of more men who need it and aren't finding it. And if you have a buddy, a brother, a neighbor, someone who you know is quietly struggling with any of this, share this video with them. You have no idea what that one gesture might mean to someone who's been too embarrassed to look this stuff up himself. I'd also love to know, which of these 7 nighttime foods are you planning to try first? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and your story might be exactly what another man in this community needs to hear to take that first step. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I post new videos every week on men's health. Real, practical, evidence-based stuff designed for men over 60 who are serious about feeling their best. You deserve that information, and I'm going to keep showing up to give it to you. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for choosing to take care of yourself. that choice matters more than you know.